You've spent years becoming exactly who everyone needs you to be. And somehow you are the one who feels guilty for being exhausted. So here's what nobody tells you. The people you love are not the ones changing you. You are. And that's not because you're weak. That's not because you don't know better, but because somewhere along the way, you started believing that love means erasing yourself piece by piece until you fit. I learned this the hard way during a fight about my mother-in-law. I was convinced my partner was forcing me to be someone I wasn't. Turns out I was the one doing the forcing. And when I finally saw it, everything shifted. So by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why you shapeshift into relationships, what remedy helps you stop doing this, and how to stop doing it without blowing up your entire life. Because the moment you see the pattern, you get your power back. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a vibrational healer who helps people change difficult patterns in their lives into something more true and more beautiful. Whether you're dealing with trauma, people-pleasing, guilt, overthinking, you're in the right place here. And if you want to start your own healing journey for free, have a look at my free masterclass, A New Approach to Healing. Move past what's been keeping you stuck. Here you'll leave with your first step and remedy formula to start changing your own life for the better. So you're watching this because you believe other people are changing you. Your partner, your family, your friends, they're the ones making demands. They're the ones with the annoying expectations. But here's what is really happening. You're doing it yourself. And no one really asked you to. So most of the time, the people who do this shape-shifting are so scared to lose something in the relationship, or they're so scared of expressing their own needs, or they are so scared to be themselves that they just gently shift themselves into something that no one per se expected of them. Let me give you an example. So you work as a manager, great position, well paid, but you're extremely unhappy. You mention you want to change careers, and the people around you, well, obviously they care about you. But they say things like, but you're earning so well there, you have a really nice boss, or you get along with everyone. So they're rationalizing all the reasons you could stay. And you agree with them. So what happens is that you retract your opinion, you doubt your own intuition. But here's the thing, no one told you to stay. No one. No one demanded you give up what you want. They just gave their opinion. You're the one who decided that their voice matters more than yours. You're the one who started asking for validation instead of following what you actually feel. And that's not care. That's control. You're trying to control how other people see you. You want to be seen as a good person, or you don't want to disappoint anyone. You don't want to feel guilty. So you shapeshift. You become smaller. You become quieter. You become what you think they need. And they never even asked for it. But knowing that obviously doesn't make it stop, because the real problem isn't awareness. I want you to picture something. You're about to tell someone you're leaving your job. You've already decided. The decision is made. But the second you say it out loud and they tilt their head and ask, "Are you sure?" Something inside you crumbles. Suddenly you're listing all the reasons you should stay. Rationalizing, backpedaling, and within 2 minutes, you're asking them what they would do. That is not a communication problem. That is a validation addiction. And it doesn't look like weakness. It looks very responsible. It looks like gathering perspectives. But here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. You hear your intuition clearly. I can't stay in this job. But you value other people's opinions so much more than your own inner voice. I see this constantly, and I have been there as well. Someone comes to me knowing they want to leave a relationship, start a business, move cities. They know, but they've mentioned it to 5 different people and collected 5 different opinions. And now they're paralyzed because their own clarity has been diluted by everyone else's fears, projections, and value systems. So let me give you a real example. A client of mine was a manager, well paid, good boss, but miserable. She wanted to leave. But every time she mentioned it, people would say, "But you're earning so well there," or, "Well, you get so well along with your boss and colleagues." And she started agreeing with the rationalizations, even though, well, none of those things clearly changed the fact that she was deeply unhappy. The truth for her was very simple. She wasn't happy, and no amount of money or no nice boss changed that. But she kept asking people to validate a choice that only made sense to her. And when you've already made a decision and someone gives their opinion, solicited or not, you retract. You doubt your own intuition. You hand your inner knowing over to someone else and ask them to tell you if it's real. That's not collaboration, that's asking someone else to be your spirit. And here's the part that stings. Most of the time, the people you're asking genuinely care about you. They're trying to protect you. But they're protecting you based on their values, their fears, their definition of security, not yours. So you end up living a life that makes sense to everyone around you, but feels completely wrong inside. But even recognizing this pattern isn't enough to break it, because this isn't just about validation. Here's the thing people miss when they're trying to fix this. They think it's about learning to say no, or having tougher boundaries, or finally speaking up. And yeah, those things obviously matter so much. But that's not what actually is happening underneath here. When you're constantly shifting yourself for other people, it's never just one thing going wrong. It's most of the time a whole stack of patterns running at the same time, layer on top of layer, till you can't even see where one begins and the next one ends. Maybe you're over worrying for everyone else's well-being, like genuinely losing sleep over whether your partner is okay with your decisions, or whether your coworker feels supported. That is maybe just one layer. Then there is guilt, deep, sticky guilt that shows up every single time you think about doing something for yourself. The kind that whispers that you're selfish if you rest, or that you're letting people down if you're not constantly available for them. Then add perfectionism on top of that. The need to be seen as the good one, the reliable one, the person everyone can count on. Because if you're not that person, then who are you? And underneath all of it, there's often this quiet fear of being a burden. You don't want to bother anyone else with your struggles, your needs, your real feelings. So you hide them. You compress yourself down into something easier for everyone else to handle. These patterns don't work alone. They are very often stacked on each other. They reinforce each other, if you will. And together they create this version of you that feels like it's keeping everyone happy, but it's actually just keeping you small. But knowing that these patterns are stacked is only half of the equation. Because the real shift doesn't happen when you try to fix each one individually. You can't think your way out of shape shifting. That's the trap most people fall into. They understand the pattern, they see themselves doing it, they know exactly why they're molding themselves to everyone else's expectations. And they still keep doing it because awareness doesn't change behavior. It just makes you more aware of how stuck you are. The remedies work differently. They don't target your behavior at all. They change your inner posture, the vibrational state from which you're operating from underneath everything else. If you're vibrating on guilt and people-pleasing and self-doubt, certain behaviors are going to express themselves through that state. You shift yourself for other people. You ask for validation. You doubt your own decisions the second someone questions them. Not because you chose to, but because that is exactly what guilt and self-doubt produce when they're running in the background. There's natural flower essences, remedies that can help you shift this inner vibration. And when the remedies shift your inner vibration, everything downstream changes with it. You're no longer vibrating on guilt. You're vibrating on self-trust. You're no longer people-pleasing to avoid conflict. You're simply making choices that feel right and letting other people have their reactions. Your behavior changes because your emotional foundation changed. You're not forcing yourself to set boundaries. You're just naturally saying no when something doesn't sit right. You're not trying to stop doubting yourself. You're just not second-guessing your intuition anymore when someone else gives their opinion. You become more yourself, not less. The layers dissolve, the clouds move, and the sun was always there. But here's what most people don't realize about how fast that shift can actually happen. So most people notice it after 3 to 4 weeks of taking the remedies. And what they notice isn't always subtle. Someone who's been saying yes to everything for 30 years will suddenly find it easier to pause when someone asks them for something. They'll take a little bit more time to feel how things actually sit with them, and then they'll answer honestly. Not because they rehearsed it and not because they forced themselves, they just do it so naturally. Someone who's been doubting their own intuition, constantly changing their mind every time someone gives an opinion, will just stop doing that. They'll hear the opinion, they'll nod politely, and then they'll keep walking in the direction they were already doing. Within 3 to 4 weeks, most people feel a difference. And around 4 to 5 weeks in, that difference becomes more apparent in the physical world through their own reactions. The first time someone says no without guilt, they feel it. The first time they choose themselves without immediately justifying it, they notice. The remedies don't change you overnight, they change your inner vibration. And when your vibration changes, your emotions shift. And when your emotions shift, your behavior follows. It is not willpower, it is not affirmations, it's that your body finally feels safe enough to be who you actually are. So, as promised, here is the one remedy I recommend for people who doubt themselves, follow other people's opinions or rationalizations instead of their own deep knowing, and who shapeshift into something else. The remedy is Cerato. Cerato is the remedy for those who ask others what they would do. For those who change their mind after they already decided because other people see things differently. It helps you stay the course, or better said, it helps you stay your course. It helps you follow that inner voice that is so loud and clear and make your life yours again. But here's the part most people don't realize until they are already in it. You're not trapped by the people around you. So for the next video, we will look at the one remedy to stop people pleasing and set better boundaries. Thanks so much for being here with me. I loved making this video, and I'll see you in the next one.